Why are you letting Philly in the Philippines speak for you and define you? Why are you letting Philly in the Philippines speak for you and define you? And I know you're going to get on your little unicorn and say, I'm not guilty by association. I'm not. It's all bullshit, okay? I'm not here to mince meat. I'm not here to, play games or mess around. This is a real issue. And if you are going to sit there and say, why should I care? Then listen to me and then tell me you shouldn't care, okay? I'm going to make a real clear argument here why you should care when people are acting an ass on the internet. It's a real simple thing, okay? Imagine yourself wherever you grew up and you're walking to school and you're coming back and you see this guy running around your neighborhood with a camera. He doesn't speak your language, doesn't look like you, doesn't understand the culture. He's just walking around with a camera, right? You're like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then, your older sister or your babysitter or the girl next door, is on one of his screenshots. It's on his video and somebody's showing it to you and you're like, well, what's that say? And so you get out Google Translate and you're like, what's a sex pat? What's a Jergens moment? What's this? What's that? And you don't even understand the innuendo is being made and people are trying to explain them to them. They're in a different language. And then your mother and father get involved in this and you're like, what's going on here? And then the neighbors talk about it. And do they see foreigners differently? Or do they see foreigners as all the same? Now, obviously, if a local has a relationship with you, they will see you as a different person, as an individual, right? But if a local doesn't have a relationship with you, they are going to see you as a foreigner. And how do they know foreigners? They know foreigners as this creepy guy running around shooting videos of women walking down the street, talking about all the sex trafficking and all the sexual tourism and all the sex pats and talking sex, right? That's what they're going to see and hear. One thing I learned in retail that was the most interesting thing is you can have the best customer service. The customer can come in, spend 3 hours, do whatever, everything can be perfect. And the most important thing is when they walk out the door, what's their last impression? If they walk out the door feeling like they got screwed or feeling like, they didn't get a good customer service experience, their likelihood of coming back is very low if they have another option, right? So what am I trying to get at here? Is we always, as humans, associate or give a higher ranking to negative experiences and negative memories. It's a higher ranking. It's a genetic thing. We can go into it if you want. Message me and we can talk about that too, because I've done enough homework in the last 2 years. I can talk about that subject with a decent bit of credibility. But people will always remember the negative, and this is common sense to anybody with a brain over 40 or over 30, shit over 10. People will always remember the negative far more intensely, strongly, and profoundly than anything positive that's done. So you need to do 10, 20, 30x positive to make up for one little negative action, right? Pretty simple stuff. Now, when people are frustrated, angry, people are having a bad day, what's the easiest thing to do? Blame someone else. So now you've got this group of people who are foreign to your neighborhood, they're new, and they don't speak the language, and they're always in the way, and they're doing this, and they're doing that, and now you're having a bad day. It's their fault. It's their fault. It's their fault. It's their fault. You are guilty by association. Our Philippine journey made a couple of videos saying, oh, it's not right, guilty by association. It's bullshit. It's all bullshit. You are guilty by association. 100% of the time, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You are guilty by association. If people are robbing a bank and you get in the car because they're going to the beach when they're done, guess what? You're guilty by association. In 6th grade, when you go in the bathroom, or 3rd grade, when you go in the bathroom and people are smoking, if you don't leave immediately, you are guilty by association, right? This is things Westerners, at least I was taught literally from like the 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade, right? And it hasn't changed. And the reason it hasn't changed is it's part of human nature. Part of human nature. If there's a group of people doing bad things or a group of animals doing bad things, I mean, even animals act this way. It was the funniest thing. Long story, but the dogs in Iraq would respond very differently to a Western smell than a local smell. And it's the funniest thing in the world because they would bark or not bark depending on how you smelled, and how you smelled depends on how you shower and food and things. And it was the funniest thing because dogs would get angry at one and not the other. Very funny thing. And I've heard stories from other service members who had that happen around the world, and it's just a funny thing, right? So even animals associate, pack mentality. And humans have never stopped doing it. So when you have an expat running around causing a ruckus and videotaping local women, creating that animosity, those locals are going to treat all expats, all travelers, all tourists that look, smell, walk, dress the same way they're going to treat him. And again, there's tons of caveats, tons of carve-outs, tons of exceptions. But that's the general rule. And I've got another video on this subject coming out, a little different style. But when you have a YouTuber with a very, very large channel, that is a different impact than just two dudes walking down the street, right? Has a totally different impact on the people and the culture and the people that come and everything. And I'm going to dive into that. I'm going to keep these videos at about 10 minutes. So come back tomorrow and look for a similar video or similar subject. I'll probably do part 1, part 2 or something. But if you don't believe Philly in the Philippines is casting a negative light on you with his YouTube channel, if you don't believe Brian Kever, right, is out there making your life as a tourist who goes to the Philippines harder, then you're just being naive. And you can get on your unicorn, you can ride over the Rainbow Bridge, and you'll go off in La La Land. And if you're a local that lives there, if you're a local expat, you should be even more concerned, because it's only going to get worse. It only gets worse from here. If you don't stand up and say stop, it only gets worse from here. Because, and I'll get into that, but if you think this doesn't affect you, you must live in LA or San Francisco, some liberal wasteland, and you have no intention of ever going to the Philippines. And you just want your little Jergens moment broadcast to you from the Philippines because you're too lazy to find real porn. I mean, come on. Talk about sad. Talk about really sad. I mean, it just makes me really, really sad. That's what I got. Philly in the Philippines is speaking for you, and I will lay that out in more detail, 1 video a week, and then I'll wrap them all up probably, in a full long monologue. But start with that process. How would your father feel if he saw Philly walking down your street, videotaping your daughter, saying this is a good Jergens moment when you were a kid? What would happen to Philly if he was broadcasting that out to the world, saying this girl is a prostitute? Why is this freelancer chasing me? What would your father do? And why is it okay for Philly to do it in the Philippines when we all know he damn well wouldn't do that shit back home? He damn well wouldn't be walking around taking videos of these ladies posting that shit online back home, right? I want to see him go back to whatever backwater trailer park he lived in and film that shit there and post that shit online. And let's see what happens then, right? But it's okay for him to do it in the Philippines, because why? Because it's a less religious country? No, Because it's a less family values orientated? No, because it's... Why? Why is that okay there? They're like, it's a more religious country. The family unit is stronger. The family values are stronger. The political environment is... The criminal... I mean, last thing you want to do is get charged with a crime in the Philippines. But Japan learned how to deal with vloggers like Brian. Japan learned real quick. And you're going to start seeing it happen to people, just regular tourists, taking pictures. And stay tuned for my next video to understand that comment. Y'all have a great day.